Okay, and we are live, and welcome. This is the ISPWP, the International Society of Professional Wedding Photographers, and today's another of our interviews with one of our members, and we have Jiten Dadlani. Did I get that right? From Canary Islands, and welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm interviewing you all the way from Portland, Oregon, and so the connection sounds pretty good. So I think we'll have a good talk.
Yeah.
And you can hear me fine. I can hear you good.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we start? Why don't you talk to us about your background, how you got started in wedding photography? I know you've been doing it for about 17 years now. Is that right?
17 years, yes. The first time was when I was 16 years old in the one wedding with my father, Indian wedding, I remember. It was one Wednesday because I was still in high school and I wanted to, I used to go with my father to every time he needs me for just to make, how do you say, to be with him, just to be with him and maybe to take care of the bags, I don't know. Since I was young, maybe 8, 9, 10, 11 years. And 16 years was when I took the camera for the first time because I was bored in the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was one Wednesday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like this, with my arms crossed. And I say, I'm going to take one camera, one of the other cameras in the back. I put the roll inside and film. And I start shooting. It wasn't a nice shooting, but it was. Give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
She's still recording.
Okay, that's fine. So, what was it? Was it medium format film or 35 millimeter?
35 millimeters.
Okay.
Yes, it's 35, 36 expositions.
Right,
film.
Right.
It was in 2000, maybe 2000.
Okay.
And
that's easy to remember.
Yeah, I remember because for me, maybe it was a point of inflection for me.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the next day, it was Thursday, I had to go to high school. I remember we finished the work at 5 o'clock in the morning. Come back house is 1 hour driving, and I slept 1 hour,
mm-hmm.
and then go to high school at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And fell asleep, and you fell asleep at school.
Yes, but when you have 16 years old, it's like something cool,
Right.
to say, everybody, I just sleep 1 hour because I was working with my father in a wedding with 16 years old.
Right.
And now, if you can sleep 8 hours, you do it, but now it's different.
Yeah. Wow. So a long history, lots of experience, and I guess it's in your family then, right? I guess photography is in your family.
Yeah. My grandfather was photographer. My father was photographer and videographer,
mm-hmm.
and my mother was photographer.
Now, is your father? Is he still working as a photographer?
No. 6 years ago, he retired, and now he's right now in London, but just for a vacation, few days, but he's resting. Yes, resting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with the family,
Okay.
He's now 69 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does he think of your chosen career to be a photographer?
He's proud, of course.
Yeah.
But he's the person that don't used to say this kind of words, Yeah. The only time that I heard from my father, I'm proud of you, is when I finished my degree, because I'm engineering also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the only one in my life when my father told me, I'm proud of you.
Well, I'm sure he's proud of you too for your successful business as well.
But I know he's proud.
Yeah, that's great. So, and I know you're based in the Canary Islands, and so is most of your work in the Canary Islands, or do you travel and do destination weddings too?
I'm, of course, destination wedding. Normally, the most of my work is here. But this year is different because this year I have 60 or 70% of the weddings outside. I mean, this year I've been in India in February, I've been in Portugal in March, I've been in Sardinia, Italy, last month, and the rest of the weddings are in other islands, next island for Ventura and La Palma, different islands. And so here I have maybe the 30% of the weddings this year. I hope from now on, I will be outside more than inside.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So for the photographers out there that are trying to do more destination weddings, or they're trying to find a way to market themselves to do more destination weddings, what would your advice be to them? How do you market yourself, and how do you get those clients from another country?
For example, I was in the United States in 2014 because it was my cousin wedding in San Juan de Puerto Rico. And there was people, because I used to make Indian weddings. And Indian weddings, when you go to an Indian weddings, come people from every part of the world, because Indians are in all the places. So in San Juan de Puerto Rico, I met some guys who was going to get married, and just they called us to go to Sevilla. Next year we went to Sevilla thanks to this wedding, and all is the same. When you go, I was in France. Also in France, I got one other wedding, but in France was also another cousin from the other part.
Okay.
In the United States was my father's cousin, my father's cousin, and in France was my mother's cousin. So I just say, I just go to France and made this wedding, and then there I met some people who was going to get married in Barcelona.
Okay.
Just the way I little by little got clients from all the places.
Interesting. So it's mostly by simply traveling and meeting people, and they see you working as a photographer, and you make those connections, and they might know someone who's getting married, and so it's a lot of personal connections, it sounds like.
Personal connections, yes. Yeah. In the first step, you have to go, for example, maybe if you charge 3,000, maybe you can do it for your cousin a little bit less, but there you can find another opportunity of work, and this is what I made.
Okay, interesting.
Yes, I'm lucky because I was at this moment I've been in 8 countries. Yeah.
So your advice to other photographers is to have cousins in other countries and go shoot their weddings. Yeah.
Definitely. If you, for example, live in Portland and you have a cousin in Brazil, watch out when they are going to get married, and go there and do it.
Yeah. Make some connections. Yeah. They do say having that personal connection, that one-on-one, that face-to-face, is very important. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So when you're shooting a wedding, whether it's at home or on a destination wedding, what part of the wedding is your favorite part of the wedding? What do you like about weddings?
The part of the wedding I like most is when there is a stress moment. For example, when there is going to happen something unexpectedly. For example, one surprise for the bride or for the groom, and you have to do it fast, and you have to be ready to take this shot, and you have to calculate in few seconds the aperture and the speed and everything, because you are for the journalist, and you are not going to have a second chance.
Right. So it sounds like you like to have a challenge. You like those unexpected things to happen, because it makes you I guess it makes you work harder. It makes you think more, as opposed to having everything planned ahead. You like to have surprises, right? You like to have unexpected things happen.
Unexpected depends
Hmm.
because I used to speak with the bride and groom separate, and I say, if you have any surprise, please tell me because I'm like the lawyer of the family.
Hmm.
I have everything, and the same with the groom. And if there is something, I should know, so I am prepared. But you have to be ready to shoot and to take the best moment. You have to calculate speed, aperture, composition, and you cannot fail. This is the difference between one guest and you. You are a photographer.
Yeah, it's very true. So would you describe that as your style as being more photojournalistic, more documentary style? Or do you spend a lot of time working with your clients on poses and directing them? Or do you more react to what's happening?
But the journalist, of course,
Okay.
because I try to not to speak with anybody. I just move myself,
Mm.
trying to say, sorry, I'm disturbing you, and if I'm disturbing you, please tell me, and I move. I don't want to move anything from the scene, and just move myself. I'm going to be in the corner like this, waiting for the perfect moment, or just shooting, waiting for the moment I want, you know?
Hmm.
I'm, of course, for the journalist.
Okay. So what do you say to clients then that come to you and say, here's some pictures that we found online on Pinterest or wherever. They found a whole bunch of wedding photos that they like and they say to you, can you make all of these pictures for us? What do you say to them?
Of course, I can. I can do whatever you want. But, and even if there is a pose picture, you know, but if there is a spontaneous picture, this is the difficult part. So I'm going to be in the wedding like a sniper. Is the person with the big one? A sniper,
Sniper.
maybe a sniper.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's okay.
it's 200 maybe from 3, 4, 5, 7 meters away, is waiting for something
Hmm.
because times in the wedding you have maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. You are waiting for the people finish the work, eat the food. Sorry, and this is the moment where you can catch the people, you know, but from 10 meters away.
Hmm. And they don't know you're taking their picture. It's,
This,
right.
yeah, this is the best.
Yeah. What about, you might have learned, I'm sure you learned some of your photography from your father. Did you learn from anyone else? Do you have anyone else that you, um, I guess, you learned from or inspired you or taught you your photography skills? How did you learn as you were getting better?
I have many, but one of them who opened my eyes in 2000, maybe 9 or 10. I was in one workshop in Madrid, and it was my first time in workshop. The first person we met there was Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in that moment, 10 years ago, he showed us how to make the things different. When he finished the workshop, I went to speak with him, and I told him, "You are not photographer. You are a psychologist of photography."
Mm.
Because he can manipulate people in the good sense. I mean, he can manipulate people to get what he wants, and it doesn't matter which kind of people. If the bride is so big, so small, so fat, so thin, and he can make the best picture for the people
Mm.
and take the best thing from them. You know, that was where what I learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, for example, is Vinicius Matos.
Mm-hmm.
I met him, I think, in 2011 or 12. I don't remember, in Madrid also. And one of the most important thing I learned from him was we were in crisis in Spain, I suppose in whole the world also. He told to all the people, okay, we are in crisis. Everybody knows. But what do you prefer? To sell napkins or to cry. You know,
that's an interesting statement. Yeah.
it's still on my head.
Right.
You are in crisis, but you can cry or you can work.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get nothing. But if you work, you will, how do you say, improve.
Mm-hmm.
You will. And the third one I want to mention is, for example, Mauricio Arias from Chrisman. You know him?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mauricio is a very nice person, humble person. I have the privilege of share with him 2 workshops and even some meals and some walks around Sevilla and Jaén. And he's very nice people. He show you more than pictures because his picture is amazing. But as a person, he's better.
Mm-hmm. And what about his personality or his thoughts did you learn?
Mauricio.
Yes, from Mauricio.
I think he's a guy who is what all the photographers from Spain maybe wants to be, and he's I think 2 years younger than me, and I appreciate him so much. The things he told me at 5 o'clock in the morning in the hotel in Sevilla, 5 o'clock in the morning, because the workshop should finish at 9 o'clock. We were in the workshop talking and working till I think 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we went to McDonald's to eat something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I really liked your first example that you gave about being the psychologist and understanding people, because I think there are a lot of photographers who are very talented at photography, at the craft of photography, at the art of photography. But when you're doing weddings or portraits and you're dealing with people, it's a whole other skill to be able to have that rapport and to have that connection and to understand what they're thinking and to understand what they're feeling and then help that improve the photography. You know what I mean? To work with the person. You're not shooting an apple or a still life type photo. You're dealing with people. So you have to understand their viewpoint. You have to understand what's going on in their head. Right?
How they think. Yep.
Exactly. And I think that's a whole other skill that sets a good photographer apart.
I think it's a part of our job to be with the couple. I mean, there is a triangle. It's a couple, boy and girl, girl and girl, and boy, whatever. And there is a triangle.
Yeah.
So you have to connect with them. You don't connect with them, you're not going to hire this wedding, because
right.
they need to be comfortable with you. When you get the bride place, when they're getting ready, for example, or boy, whatever, they are not going to say, hey, is the photographer. No, they're going to say, Jiten has come, There's a connection before the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think you do that? What's your technique or what's your approach to getting to know the couple or getting to earn their trust, or what do you do? What's your style?
I think there is not a really technique. I think it's just to try to be a good person, and if the person, I mean, if the clients are not crazy people, you are going to go. Everything goes nice. For example, if you are going to spend 1 hour in the meeting before the wedding to hire the wedding, you are not going to. You have to be yourself and try to be correct, of course, and you don't have to talk about topics like, for example, I don't know, animals in the North Pole or politics or football, because in football, soccer, all the people say, I'm from Barcelona, I'm from Madrid, and they say, no, we are going to argue.
Right.
politics. Politics.
Right. Politics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm from right. You are from left.
Yeah. Yeah.
You,
Doesn't
you,
help. Yeah.
even me in my life, I used to go out from all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to know about politics, football. When people tell me which one is your team, I say my team is Studio Nani, is the company. I don't have
Yeah.
the
There you go.
I don't, I have
You got
the
your own flag? There you go.
this is my
Nice.
my team.
Right.
I work for myself
Yeah.
because football is not going to give me the food. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
politics.
Yeah. Politics and religion. That's what we say over here. So don't talk politics or religion.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you had a very early start with photography, and you had went to school for engineering. So, would you have like an alternate career besides photography? Would you want to be an engineer if you weren't a photographer? And if so, what kind of engineer?
I am an industrial design engineer.
Okay.
I wanted to be engineer, but I know in Australia, if you have a degree, you study. When you finish your degree, you have a good job as an engineer or whatever. But we are in Spain. I finished my degree, and I got nothing. But before this, I decided to be wedding photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I finished my degree 4 years ago, because I finished all the subjects, and then I started with the business of photography.
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago or five, I told myself I have to finish with this part of my life, and then I can keep on working on what I want is wedding photography.
Okay. So you're not going to ever actually be an engineer then? It's like were you glad that you studied it?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
very happy to
Okay.
study engineering, but I don't think I'm going to be engineer never, because as engineer you can be in front of your laptop working, but you're not going to create emotion.
Mm.
You know,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
you can create maybe some house, maybe some big places or buildings, wherever, but you're not going to create emotions. This work is not going to make cry anybody.
Yeah. So
And I think this is the difference. So that's why I like my job.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I hear that a lot from photographers, that there is just a very personally, from a very personal standpoint, they feel fulfilled, they feel happy, they like to serve other people, and they feel that they can do a lot of those things through wedding photography that it's hard to get in other jobs. Yeah. And some of them just like to be self-employed too. They don't like to work for somebody else. They like to work for themselves.
Yeah, I think the number of people who decide to study architecture or engineering are increasing, and they are now wedding photographers. I know some of them here, and some is more common. You know, every time is more common.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true in a lot of countries. I think we've always had the problem with wedding photography that you don't have to have a degree. So it's as long as you're willing to learn and to practice and to study and to have that drive to run your business. Lots of people try to become wedding photographers, but not everybody is successful at being a wedding photographer. So
it's not easy.
Yeah.
People think it's easy.
Yeah.
Here, there's a lot of people who works in another thing. For example, taxi driver, bus driver, or maybe people who works with metals. Soldadura, I mean in English, with metals and whatever. And they buy a camera and make a start wedding and destroy all the memories of the people. But there is a market for everybody. You can choose.
Yeah. So what would your advice be if someone like a new photographer who has not, maybe they knew photography, but they have not shot a wedding before, or they've only done one or two. So if they come to you and they say, Jiten, what should I do? I want to be a wedding photographer. What would your advice be to the new photographer?
if he wants or she wants to be a wedding photographer, my advice is, first of all, please do not go to a wedding without make a lot of practice. You need to learn. You need knowledge. You need to practice a lot. You have to make millions of pictures before destroy the memories of somebody. But depends of the people, because sometimes there is couples who doesn't matter the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. It's not important for them.
Right.
But if somebody wants to save money in the photographer, and they hire, for example, a new one who never made a wedding, sorry, you are going to make a big mistake.
Yeah. And I think if you talk to most wedding photographers, if they're being honest, their first few weddings were not that good. It's the type of thing where experience really does count. Yeah. Yeah. That's good advice. Okay. Do you want to take a look at some of your photos? I picked up some of the ones you sent to me that I thought would be fun to look at. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on them, if I can share them here.
I don't remember the pictures I sent you.
I know.
I choose maybe 15. I don't know.
This is the two couples staring off into the sunset. Yeah,
it is a nice history because those girls are sisters.
So okay.
They decide to get married together, and I met this girl because the boy of the let me see, the boy of the left.
Mm-hmm.
I made the wedding of his sister, and when you make one wedding in one family, you became the wedding of the the photographer of the family. I made the wedding of the sister of the guy of the left, the wedding of these two couples, then two baptism about his nephew.
Okay.
Yes, very nice. That was in Maspalomas in Gran Canaria. It's a very nice sunset.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
I like to call this image like the Four Fantastic.
Fantastic Four. And so how was it lit then? What did you use for lighting?
Lighting was my companion in the back, and then because it was a mountain of sand, and my companion was then with the flash, with pocket wizard and remote control.
Okay. So on the other side, it goes down. It's like a like a hill.
And the other side is a hill. It's like a hill.
I see.
My companion is down. Yeah.
So the trick with these types of shots is the timing, because you lose that light so quickly. So it's a matter of getting them in the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's just hard to get people to pull them away from the wedding, to say, okay, we need to go get a picture. The light is happening right now.
You have hardly 15 minutes to do this.
Yeah.
And all the basic things you need to do.
Yeah. Okay, this next picture is a black and white. There we go. And it's the picture looks like the mom is braiding the girl's hair, and her little brother. It's a black and white photo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This looks like it must be some sort of before the wedding, like a getting ready type shot, where the little girl's getting her hair done. But the expression, there's a little boy.
Yes.
As well, with a great face.
I love this one. Even I have this picture on my office printed because it has some award. Yeah, it was a very nice situation, but I mean a spontaneous situation. She was the bride is the person who is making the hairdress to the girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's the bride, and she was really, really, really nervous. She was all the time doing like this, like all the time in the getting ready time. And he was making the hairdress to her daughter,
mm-hmm.
and the small guy is the nephew, and he gave me this amazing shot.
To catch those expressions is just gold. I just love it when people are able to catch those expressions, because it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes it's just hard to capture. Or you get it right before or right after, but to get that expression at the right time. And her expression, the little girl's expression, is very nice as well.
I was there because I know that something was going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in front of them. Of course, they don't know I'm there because they are worried about other things.
Mm-hmm.
I was maybe 3 meters away from them. Shoot, and I got this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because you're fairly close in, so they know you're there. The children are the ones looking at you, and the adults are ignoring you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adults are ignoring me, and the guys is looking at me, of course, because I'm the strength of the place.
Right.
Their family is the bride and her sister, I think.
And I think that's the other thing to talk about too. If the bride is very stressed, if she's like
Really?
breathing hard and she's upset and worried about the wedding, that makes it can make it very difficult for the photographer, because on the one hand you want them to be happy and you want them to relax, but at the same
but sometimes no.
Sometimes they're just nothing you can do.
Sometimes there is one mother of the bride shouting around all the house,
Yeah.
And maybe asking you, why are you taking the pictures of the dress? And I say I need to do this picture, and it suddenly maybe come the brother of the bride, and I say, Mom, please, can you leave him? He's working. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a lovely composition as well.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one is one of my favorites. It's the little dog. It's the one with you see the bride and the groom running, and you just see their legs, but you see the dog running between them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your camera is right on the ground here, right? Are you lying down?
I am on the ground, lie down. I love to do that. I love to be on the ground, shooting from down to up and cut things. I love this. That was in 2015, I think.
Okay.
It was a very, very long trash the dress shooting around all the island here. Maybe we spent 8 hours, I think.
Okay.
We went to the south and we went to the mountain, and it was 8 hours.
Wow, that's a long session.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of trash the dress type sessions?
Sorry?
Do you do a lot of the trash the dress sessions?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because it's not easy. You have to look to find the couple who wants to make all the crazy things you have in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Because you say to the people, do you want to make a trash the dress shooting? And they say, yes, okay, not bad. And then they say, but how many hours? They become tired, they become hungry, they become,
Mm-hmm.
They have necessities, and we are conscious that we are going to work, and we are going to maybe to feel cold, to feel hungry, and hungry. Food, I mean.
Mm-hmm. Hungry, yeah. Well, there's hungry when you don't want food, and there's what we call hangry when you're hungry and angry at the same time.
Yeah. The pronunciation is not really nice.
Right.
And they are not conscious. They have to suffer a little bit to get the best images.
Yeah. Well, especially with the ones where they're in water. If they're in a lake or in a river and they're getting wet, right? That can be very difficult, because now they're cold, their clothes are wet, and you have to have a change of clothes ready. I think a lot of people like the idea or they like the pictures, but they have to be told or educated how uncomfortable it's going to be.
We used to be prepared with towels and things to change, but the most of the time couples are not ready to work with you 100%. They say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do inside. I'm not going to go inside the water. I'm not going to, whatever.
Do you find that the demand or couples who want the trash the dress session, is that about the same, or is it becoming more popular, or is it becoming less popular? Do you have a sense for that?
I think it's constant. It's the same.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Just depends of the age of the couple. If they are maybe 20 something, they want to do it. If they are 40 something, they don't want to do it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're in your 20s, you want to have all those pictures for your Instagram, and if you're 40, you don't care. I'm assuming this was the couple's dog in this picture. Is that correct?
Yeah, but they are really happy with this picture, and these very nice guys.
Yeah,
it's Carlos y Marian. It's very nice couple.
Okay. This next picture, I think it's number 4 that you sent me. It's a split screen where the lower left, it looks like you see the top of the groom's head, and in the upper right, you see just the bride's body.
Yes.
So
Indian wedding, right?
Indian wedding, a very interesting composition. That's what struck me about this.
I love this one.
Mm-hmm.
I was shooting, and I saw the leather, and that's I just say, please, guys, bride, go up. Is Sumitra, go up, please, and Prashant, go down. And I shot, and when I shot, I looked to my screen in the camera. And I say, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I showed to Sumitra, and she told me, you cut my hair.
But on purpose.
Say, yes, of course. But I say, yes, but can you see the symmetry, the message, the leather, and your body, his head? And she told me, you cut my head.
I can see that brings up an interesting point, because sometimes like myself or you will look at a photo like this and appreciate the art, the composition, the idea, right? The concept. But as a client, you want a pretty picture of yourself with a smile on your face.
Yes, because maybe she thought, what happened with my hair?
Right.
I can assure you she's really beautiful. But I did it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have cut the head of the boy. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes. Catch her, switch them.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting skill that I think is one of those things that takes experience, because it's an unusual shot, it's an unusual composition, but it's only the type of thing that comes with experimentation and with a willingness to try something new and different. Because sometimes I would try shots like this, sometimes they would work, and sometimes what I had in my mind did not show up, did not turn out the way I thought it would. So I think it's taking chances and taking risks that is the lesson here, I think.
Yes, and if they don't like the picture, do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to take that picture. Just I came to this place. I say the place, and I say, what about if we do that? And we did it. But if we didn't do it, I was arrepentido. I don't know. I was disappointed with me because I wanted to do it,
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, and I'm sure you did this too, you would take these, I would call risky shots or creative shots, but you'd also have plenty of more traditional or more conventional type photos for the client as well, right?
All they want to see. And in the worst of the cases, I can say, you don't like the pictures, okay? We're not going to put it in the album. That's all.
Yeah, right. And I'll enter this in competitions.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one is number 5, I believe. If I can get it to go. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is the one where it looks like they're standing in front of a jellyfish in an aquarium with the
Yeah.
purples and the blues. Yeah, this is interesting.
They are not a very young couple, and they are going to be now the next 23rd of June, 1 year as a married couple.
Wow.
They're going to be now 1 year anniversary.
Okay. And was the wedding at an aquarium, or where?
One of the best aquarium in whole Europe is here in Gran Canaria.
Oh,
And there's no possibility to make weddings inside, but I think there are a lot of friends, and they did it. It was a very hard wedding because there is no a lot of light inside, and you cannot use the flash because of the fishes.
oh, right.
It was the rules. You cannot use the flash, and I say okay. So I lose continuous light. They are Salvador y Cruz, a very very lovely couple.
Mm. Oh, so they are lit with light, but not with a flash. You had like a
I can use continuous, but not
continuous
flash.
light. Okay.
Because the fishes were sleeping. I don't know.
Well, it might upset them. That's interesting because when I would shoot a wedding, I would not bring any sort of source of continuous light. Was that? Did you bring a continuous source of light, or did you have one that was there at the aquarium? Or
I used to take with me all I can: flashes, continuous, LED, whatever. And depends of the situation, I use one or others.
Interesting.
Mm.
And then you have to mount it or clamp it above. Where was it? Where was the light located then?
Sorry?
Where would the light be? Where is the light located in this photo? Is it above them and behind them somewhere?
It's a backlight with my companion down, and I think it's continuous. I think, and maybe some LED.
Because I can see in the glass, I can see her face reflection that is very well lit from that side, right?
Yeah. The LED is back in the back.
I see. Yeah, it's a probably. Well, you explain to me, how is it different when you shoot an older couple like this compared to a younger couple? What are the differences?
You know what? I used to be with the couple, and the most important thing for me is they have feelings between them. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter if they are boy, girl, girl, boy. It doesn't matter. If they love each other, I don't know, as maximum a lot, you can get a nice picture. Of course, I have the experience to shoot maybe some couples where the boys like this are. You finish? Yeah, you finish? We can move, and this is really uncomfortable because to take pictures to a couple or to somebody who does not want to be photograph or doesn't want to make pictures,
right?
This is really uncomfortable,
right?
Because you want to create, but they don't allow you. It doesn't matter the age, and I can assure you, they have the second opportunity in their lives, and they were really, really, really in love.
Yeah, I can kind of see that in their faces here in this picture as well. Yeah, and my experience is there's no rule. I mean, there may be certain trends, but I would have younger clients that were quite mature and willing to do the photos and showed a lot of love to each other and were very easy to get along with and really wanted to get into it and help me with the photos. But I'd also have some young couples who were they were very immature and they were impatient and drunk or whatever it was. And so there's really no age does not really necessarily mean it's going to be easier or harder. It's just like you said, they have to want to be there. They have to obviously be willing to show the love that they have for each other. But I enjoyed shooting all ages. It made no difference to me. Yeah. I would imagine that most of your clients, I'm assuming, are younger.
The most of the people are young, but in Spain, we were in crisis, or maybe we are still in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 20 or 30 years ago, couples used to get married maybe when they are 21, 22, 23, whatever. But now my clients, most of them are maybe from 30 and on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true worldwide. I think the overall trend is to get married a little bit older. Okay, this next one is the wedding detail shot. It's the ring shot with the ladybugs.
Yeah, you have a new one, right?
Yeah, it's the wedding ring picture with the ladybugs crawling on the wedding rings.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Where did the ladybugs come from? We call them ladybugs. I don't know what you call them.
That was in the next island in Fuerteventura. There was a lot of insects like this, and I went to Fuerteventura to make the pre-shooting, a shooting before the wedding, because the wedding was going to be in France, and there was a lot of insects. So I took the rings and I put it in one place, and there was plenty of them. I took, I think, maybe 5, 6 inside my hand, sorry. And with the tripod and with the camera ready, I just leave them and this is the history of this image.
I like it because I see a lot of wedding ring pictures, and it's usually just the 2 rings, right? But you don't see many with the insects incorporated into the picture. Especially it's nice that there's two bugs, just like, husband, wife kind of a thing, bride and groom, right?
90% of the people tell me this is a composition, this is fake. And I say, no, it's not fake.
Oh, I didn't think it was fake. Yeah.
Yeah. I spend maybe 45 minutes to do this picture, and I shoot maybe 150,
Yeah. No, that would have been too much work to fake that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was nice.
Okay, I got one more to show. So this is a very dark silhouette. It's number 12 that you sent me. A very, very, looks like it's inside I don't know if it's inside a...
Number 12.
Yeah, it's a very dark silhouette, which I thought was very striking. It's in some sort of building. I don't think it's a church. It looks like some sort of reception area or shooting through a balcony or something. Can you describe what's going on here?
Number 2 or number 12?
Number 12.
12?
Yeah.
Number 12, I have one couple in one park. I think is different. Can you describe the picture for me again?
Yes, it's very dark, and there's the bride and groom are in silhouette, very small in the center.
Small in the center. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
This is I don't know the name in English of the ayuntamiento, the place where you can fix all the papers about your town, council, maybe?
Like a city hall?
City hall, yeah. And the wedding was in this place, in the city hall.
I see.
And this is from up in the very nice leather and antique leather, all leather. With the perspective, I was up, and I told to the couple, please go down, be in the center, and try to make a kiss, but don't do it. And I put the flash in the back. It's not the back. The light is not facing them. It's facing to the door.
So it's bouncing off the door.
Yeah. And finally, they love this image, and also to me.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. And was the light inside there this dark, or was that was it really that dark inside the building?
It was yes, it was really dark, and there was a few lamps. Can you see in the top of the couple? That's all. I closed the aperture, and I speak, I think maybe 200. I don't remember, and that's all.
Yeah. And this is a really good example of what I've seen you do in a lot of your work. Is you obviously you see a location and you see an opportunity and you see the picture in your head, and then you say, how can I make that happen, right? And then you say, here's how I can light it. Here's how where I can have them stand. So it takes a lot of, I guess, very, very quick planning in your head on how to pull this off. You don't have a lot of time, right? You have to say, okay, I see the possibilities here. Here's what I see in my mind, what I think we can create. Let's go ahead and try it, right?
You have to be quick, yeah.
You have to be quick.
I learned something many years ago, because maybe after my learning starts, I thought in the wedding, should I make this picture? Should I move myself 10 meters there to take that picture?
Mm-hmm.
Now, since the moments I start to learn, I thought, I don't thought this. I just think something, and I say, can I do it? Yes, I go and do that. And later, we can see if it works in the screen, the big screen, or not. If it works, it's nice. If not works, okay, that's the next time maybe. But don't miss the opportunity to do it, because if you miss the place or the time, you're not going to give again, the opportunity to have the opportunity again. Sorry.
Right. Well, I think it also is a good example of a professional wedding photographer who understands composition and light and knows their equipment, because it's not like you can go out and practice this or practice any other number of creative images that come to you. You have to understand composition, light, both ambient and flash, right? And your equipment and limitations of your equipment, and be able to apply that in many different situations that you like you said, we only have seconds to come up with this idea. And you have to be able to apply that in many different locations with many different lighting situations. That's what I think really sets a true professional apart, is to be able to adapt to what they have in front of them to create a great image. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe this is our skills as a wedding photographer, as a photojournalist. You have these things to make the pictures, and you have this situation, and your head has to start with the composition, lighting, and aperture, and think about what do you need to do, and all together to get what you need.
Yeah, and somewhere in your brain, those hundreds of thousands of pictures that you've made in the past come together, and you're able to figure it out what will work in this particular situation. Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe sometimes you try to do something in other situation with other gear, other equipment, and you didn't do it because it was not your time.
Yeah.
You can keep on doing the same, or keep on trying to do the same picture is in your head, and maybe it's better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times you cannot get what you need, but if you think quickly and try to do it, maybe you can get the award. But if you don't try, you're not going to get nothing.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, those are some really great images, and I really appreciate those. So what's next for you? What do you see yourself doing, differently in the next couple of years or next 5 years? How do you see your photography growing or changing?
As I told you a few minutes ago, this year for me is a little bit different, because this year I've been in three different countries, and because the normal thing is every year maybe one country, 2 countries a year, but this year I made 3 in 1 year. Mm-hmm. This is very important for me, and I would like to open the fan, the name, mm-hmm. fan, and try to make more weddings outside than inside, because we have to say here in Canary Islands we're a little bit limited, and not because we are not. All wedding photographers are not nice, because I think in Canary Islands there is the best wedding photographers. Not me, of course. I have awesome companions. Is the best wedding photographers in whole Spain. Spain, there is amazing photographers, of course.
Yes, there are.
The percentage of the people who is better, I think, is in Canary Islands. But even though we are limited here, we have to take a plane to go to mainland. It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
And the prices here are not fair with our work, with the work we made every day. So I would like in the future to shoot more weddings outside more than inside.
Okay. So if you were to have like one country to go to that you have never been to before, or a country you have not shot a wedding in before, what country would you like to go to?
Which country?
Yeah.
I've been in India, in Italy, in Portugal, in the States, in France, and United Kingdom.
Yeah, you got around.
Sorry?
You've been around. You visited. Yeah.
To have something different, maybe I would like to be in Germany or even Australia. Yeah.
How about Greece? I always thought Greece would be interesting.
Sorry?
Greece would be interesting. Go to Santorini in Greece would be nice.
Oh, yes, Italy, right? Or
no,
Greece?
it's Greece.
Greece.
Yeah.
Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
It's nice,
Yeah.
but I've been in Europe and I've never been in Oceania. And I have the family of my fiancée is from Australia, so maybe I can do something in this place.
Yeah, Australia, Tahiti or Fiji would be fun too.
Oh,
yeah.
Fiji.
Yeah.
Fiji Island. Yeah,
So you have a fiancé, or do you have a date to get married yet?
Maybe next year, or
maybe
the
next
other
year?
one. I don't know.
Well, anything else to add, Jiten, before we close this up?
If you want to ask wherever, I can answer very, very pleasant.
I think you've done an excellent job, and your English, as I said, is very, very good.
My English is a disaster. But
No, it's very, very good.
Just one more thing.
Sure.
I would like to say hello to Pedro Alvarez, because I'm in ISPWP thanks to him.
Thank you, Pedro.
Yeah, you know him, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you very much. Well, thank you again, and thank you for sharing your work. And I'll have this up on YouTube with all of your website and all of your social media contacts, so people can find you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, and I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure for me.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Okay, bye.